peeking into Halakhot Gedolot about wine is I found a word. The word is Nun Bet Yud Daled. Okay, we might pronounce that as Nabidh, but there's an Arabic word Nabidh, which is a DH, if you will, a vowel,
Mm-hmm.
and that word Nabidh, it ain't a Hebrew word. It ain't an Aramaic word, right? It's just an Arabic word. And there it is in Halakhot Gedolot. And it's juxtaposed with
Mm-hmm.
other words about wine. So, here we have a, classical Jewish text
Mm-hmm.
written in Aramaic, right? Now, the Geonim,
Mm-hmm.
write many of their responsa in Hebrew. They write many of their responsa in Aramaic, of course, language of the Talmud. And they do also write responsa in Arabic a lot of the time. But here in this halachic, kind of compendium of Talmudic material, again, written primarily in Arabic and sometimes quoting earlier Talmudic sources in Hebrew,
Mm-hmm.
lo and behold, there's the word Nabid is right there. So it seems that like Halakhot Gedolot is thinking about, what exactly, what role Nabid is going to play in the daily life of, the Jews of
So, so
Babel.
what might you suggest the semantic range of this word nabitha is?
So that's a good question, right? So in one mistake
Mm-hmm.
that Arabists might make is say, okay, we have a word that's a good Arabic word, and in Arabic, the word nabid can mean date wine as well as raisin wine and so on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, that's what it means in the Jewish context.
Mm.
Okay, and so particularly like
So nothing
scholars who
involving grains,
so,
no grains.
so I suspect not, right?
Okay.
But, right, one mistake that scholars who know Arabic and know Islamic law might make is say, okay, we're going to take this term and we're going to define it in terms of Islamic law because that's what it was in its context. But I would argue that when Arabic terms get brought into Jewish texts, they get Judaized,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that is to say that Nabid, yes, in Arabic it might mean date wine and raisin wine. My suspicion here is that Nabid is referring to raisin wine, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
bounded by um, the meaning of the term in Islamic law, but rather it's Judaized. Now, in this specific context, I'll
Mm-hmm.
just read you the Aramaic piece. It's I nafel chamra O nabida al lavusha b'shabta, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on
So from
Shabbat,
wine, yeah.
you're sitting at the table and you've had something to drink and you spill a little wine or a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of nabid,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that is, right? Whether it could be date wine because that'll stain too, but I
Mm-hmm.
think they're talking about raisin wine because of the staining properties, right? They're
Interesting.
clearly thinking
Mm-hmm.
about, are you going to wash your garment on Shabbat,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, you
Yeah.
can just imagine them sitting around a table and thinking, all right, what is it that we're doing? Now, the
Mm-hmm.
other thing about the other suggestion that Nabid is raisin wine, right, gets to something that I've written about a little bit, relying on other scholars, and
Mm-hmm.
that is that Bavel, the cradle of these Talmudic academies, right, even though back in ancient times, we know that there was wine consumption there, and in late antiquity that there were barrels of wine brought there.
Mm-hmm.
Iraq isn't seen as an area where there's a lot of cultivation of wine
Grapes.
going on.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So now raisins can travel, right? In
Mm-hmm.
fact, they can travel easier than grapes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're highly portable. And so it may well be that what we're dealing with here is wine that gets reconstituted.